morning, Nigeria. A beautiful Monday to you and welcome to another fresh edition of Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, your trusted morning companion. It's the 16th of June, 2025, and we are kicking off the new week with energy, insight, and everything you need to stay ahead of your day. Good morning. I am Samson Balogun.
That's right, Samson. The weekend may be over, but don't worry, your mornings are still in safe hands. We are coming to you live from the heart of Ibadan, or your state, where the weather is looking cool. The clouds are gathering and the rains are intensifying across the southwest. So if you are stepping out this morning, be rain ready.
Yeah.
I am Yemi Adelako. Welcome to Daybreak Live.
All right, on today's show, we have got a lineup that will inform, inspire, and keep you updated. First up, we begin with the Daybreak News. Top stories from Nigeria and around the world that you need to know to start your week informed. From politics to policy to public interest, and we have got pause on the headlines.
And right after that, we flipped through today's newspaper headlines and front page analysis. A quick dive into how the major dailies are reporting the stories that matter. What are the angles, what are the implications, and what should you be paying attention to? We break it down with clarity.
Our big story this morning is one that ties into a very important global message. Over the weekend, the world marked World Blood Donor Day. And today on Daybreak Live, we are keeping that conversation alive. Why is blood donation so vital? What are the facts versus the fears? And how can we build a culture of voluntary donation in Nigeria?
Joining us to unpack this particular story this morning is Dr. Oladapo Awunroti, a medical expert with years of experience in blood services. He'll be helping us understand not just the science, but also the social need, especially in a country where demand for blood often exceeds supply. It's a conversation you don't want to miss.
Then we swing into sports, and there's a lot to catch up on, from weekend matches, local leagues, international fixtures, transfer balls, and athletes updates. We'll bring you the highlights, drama, and victories.
Yes, exactly. And of course, we close things off with a vibrant trend watch segment. From viral videos to social media gist, trending hashtags, fashion waves, and tech talk was capturing attention in Nigeria and beyond. We've got our eyes on it.
So grab your cup of tea or coffee, settle in, and let's journey through a meaningful Monday together. This is Daybreak Live, and we are just getting started. Don't forget, you can be a part of the conversation. You hear me?
Yes, stay with us. It's Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, and this is your Monday morning connection to the world.
All right. Good morning to you, Yemi.
Good morning, Samson.
Happy New Week.
Happy New Week.
You look amazing this morning.
You look great yourself.
Good to have you in the studio again.
Same here.
Okay, we'll be talking about something really interesting this morning, and
yes,
that's the tinted permit. There has been a lot of reactions over the weekend, even before the weekend, and people are talking tough about how much it costs to get that, and how the police are saying, look, you can just drive around with tinted permit with tinted glasses when you are not even permitted to have them. So it's really an interesting topic. But then, what are the gains of having a tinted glass on your car? And people are beginning to ask questions. Okay, what exactly do we stand to gain if you have it, and what exactly is the demerit if we don't have it? I mean, there are disadvantages, and of course there are advantages.
Exactly. I think the Nigerian police force, stated the fact that they are doing that just to ensure, safety for the people, because they've discovered that a lot of persons, perpetrate a lot of evils using those tinted glasses. However, a lot of persons, car owners, have also complained about the fact that, the portal is not accessible. They are going through issues trying to register and the likes. And then a lot of other persons have also noted that, when they pay online, when they go for capturing, they still pay. And so to them, they see it as a kind of extortion on their own part. And then they've also, I think the Nigerian police force has released a number that you can actually call to make your complaints if you are facing an issue like that. So I just hope that people get to register. And then let's also talk about the fact that some people are saying is actually a lot for them to be paying that amount yearly, because initially I don't think it was like that.
It wasn't that much.
But now they have to pay yearly. So it's a lot, I mean, for the cow owners.
Well, I think one of the things we sometimes forget to look at is the fact that nothing is free, even in Freetown. So you have to pay for everything, regardless of how much it is. You know, the government has the right to set the price, and it is the responsibility of the people to actually abide by the rules. At least if you want to be a law-abiding citizen, there are things you have to do. But then what are the gains of having tinted permit on your glass? I mean, sometimes it actually further enhances security.
Exactly.
If you have valuables in your car, nobody gets to see them unless, you know, they have access to that car by actually opening the door. So it means that it helps you secure your items that you have kept in your car. And sometimes when you have VIPs in the car, it's a little bit difficult.
People don't necessarily see their faces.
They just know a car is passing by, and then that's it. So these are reasons why people do it. And if it has gotten to this stage, what exactly will the government do to make sure that both the government and people who actually need these permits meet, you know, at somewhere in the middle, so that it is not too expensive, and of course it's not be a loss for the government too, because if you are not, these are ways governments tend to generate income. They tend to generate IGR. So if the people are not willing to pay, and then why would you complain that the government has not provided the necessary facilities you actually need?
Actually, going through the comment online, the issue that a lot of persons have is the fact that they are unable to actually access the portal to actually pay, because a lot of persons do not like how, you know, policemen stop them when they are traveling, I mean, waste their time on the road. So a lot of persons want to actually get it, but then they are finding it hard to access the portal. And let's talk about the issue of awareness too. Some people are actually not aware, until they stop them on the road, and someone said he had to take everything off because he cannot
I've seen someone that doesn't even know they pay for permits. Exactly.
He had to take it off because he doesn't like how they stop him on the road. And then, so I don't know, I just feel like cow owners should be, you know, should have a nose for news, and then when things like this come out, they should be ready to actually you know, follow through.
All right, Yemi, that takes us away from this segment of the show this morning. We now head straight to our news desk, and of course we'll take the news trending stories. All right, what we have now, you can be a part of the conversation by linking up with us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. It is at Dominion Broadcast. Don't forget, you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is at Dominion Broadcast. Don't forget to keep your comments down there. And of course, on X, formerly Twitter, it is at DominionCast. Watch us live on our website, www.dominion.org.ng. We now head straight to our news desk, and when we return, the show continues. It is still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television.
Please stay with us. Good morning. This is Daybreak News on Dominion Television. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun. Pope Leo has offered prayers for the victims of what it described as a terrible massacre in Benue State. Over 200 people were reportedly brutally killed in the Yelewata community of Guma local government area in one of the latest incidents of herdsmen attacks in the state. Speaking during his Angelus prayer, the pontiff said most of the victims were internally displaced persons, IDPs, who had sought shelter at a local Catholic mission in the area, making the attack even more horrifying. The Nigerian Union of Teachers (NUT) has urged President Bola Tinubu to prioritize teachers' values and welfare to make the profession more attractive to the younger generation. The national president of NUT, Comrade Odu Amba, made the call in an interview with newsmen. He urged the government to make teachers role models and recognize the teaching profession as a pillar of societal advancement. The traditional ruler of Ifetoto community in Ife South local government area of Osun State, Oba Taofeek Osumakinde, the Obawari of Ifetoto, has appealed to the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, over alleged threats to destroy the community. The monarch also appealed to the IGP over incessant clashes arising from a boundary dispute between his community and a neighboring community in the Ijebu West local government area of Ogun State. The monarch, who spoke in Akure, the Ondo State capital, urged Egbetokun to investigate and apprehend the perpetrators of unrest stemming from the ongoing border dispute between Ife South and Ijebu West over the 30-mile land area known as Ifetoto. Ondo State Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has pledged his full support for President Bola Tinubu's re-election in 2027, saying his economic reforms and policies are unprecedented in the history of Nigeria. Aiyedatiwa also said the people of the state will support President Tinubu because of the federal infrastructural projects and appointment extended to the state with his renewed hope agenda. He highlighted some of the projects to include the ongoing dualization of Ore-Ondo-Akure Road, establishment of the Federal University of Technology Teaching Hospital, establishment of a school aviation, and the construction of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway passing through the state. The Katsina State Agency for Mass Education has announced plans to commence literacy classes for repentant bandits as part of a broader initiative to reintegrate them into society and sustain ongoing peace efforts in the state. The program, according to the executive director of the agency, Biliksu Muhammad Kakai, will offer both Islamic and Western education and will be rolled out in phases across local government areas where peace agreements have been reached and bandits have voluntarily laid down arms. Speaking with newsmen, Kakai said facilitators were ready for deployment and that local government chairmen will be involved in coordinating the classes. In business, the World Bank has allocated $40 million to support the expansion of financial protection for poor and vulnerable Nigerians under a new loan-backed health program approved for the country. The loan project was approved on September 26, 2024 by the World Bank, includes a $500 million credit facility from the International Development Association and a $70 million grant from the Global Financing Facility. The project is expected to run until June 30th, 2029. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast and X at Dominion Cast. That's the break news. I am Oluwayemi Adelakun saying thank you for listening and good morning. All right, thank you for staying with us. It is still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, and here we take you through the headlines and of course do some analysis. However, I'm not alone this morning. Soon enough, I'll be turning to my co-host Samson Balogu, and together we'll make sense of some of the top stories that made it to the dailies. This morning I'll have to start with Nigerian Tribune, and I have this headline that says, Benue crisis, Tinubu directs security chiefs to implement earlier directive. Pope prays for Benue people, says incident, terrible massacre. Honestly, you need to see the videos across, the social media platforms. It's a lot. There's a lot to undo, and then a lot of people have been talking about the fact that, why did the president, not speak on time concerning the issue. But soon enough, we talk about it with Samson. Moving to the Blueprint newspaper, I have this one that says 2027 Northeast APC endorses Tinubu Shettima ticket. This happened yesterday. A meeting was held with the stakeholders in Gombe, the state capital, and then a lot of things happened because the likes of Ganduje and then other top stakeholders in the APC, they had to be, they had to be, rescued out of the place, by strong security men, because some people, were not having some of the things that were said about, 2027 election, and the fact that even Ganduje, the party chairman, did not talk about, Shettima at all. He talked more about, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We'll look at that too this morning. I shall have this headline that says Dangote refinery begins nationwide PMS diesel distribution August 15. This is a welcome development, and then coming from the Dangote himself, he has said that this, will reduce the cost of production, because we all know that, when the price of fuel reduce, the cost of production will also reduce, and then it helps our economy all around. Moving on to Business Day, I have this one that says Nigeria's long dance where devaluation ends in reform-driven float. I also have this one on The Guardian that says Pope decries terrible massacre in Benue as Tinubu rallies security chiefs. We'll look at that story as well this morning. A lot of killings in Benue State. What is really going on? 2027, Sowore sees no opposition, says APC controls all. He said it in an interview that he doesn't see all of these opposition parties as real opposition parties. They feel the APC still controls them one way or the other. And of course, when he was asked about the top opposition parties like the PDP and the Labour Party, he feels the Labour Party is just, working for the party and still working for the opposition party, which is the APC as well. We'll look at that story too this morning. I have this one also that says Northeast delegate fight for Shetima's second term with Tinubu. I spoke about that, not quite long, that Northeast people are not having the Tinubu without Shetima. As a matter of fact, Zulum also stated that there is no vote for APC in Northeast without Shetima. That's a strong statement. Moving on to New Telegraph, I have this one that says delegates disrupt Northeast APC summit as leaders endorse Tinubu, ignore Shetima. And this headline as this right, it says Tinubu Woko get Delta North APC's nod as Kaduna backs President Uba Sani. All right, I have this one that says ECOWAS at crossroads facing existential crisis. That's a serious one. Nigeria's export to African countries up to 18.8% to 10.99 trillion naira. Moving on to leadership, he says still Benue killings. Tinubu orders security chiefs to restore peace as IGP visits today. Death tolls rises, villagers flee, protest rocks Makurdi. As a matter of fact, I read it in the news yesterday that after the old massacre, about 33 persons were actually arrested because their coming down to Makurdi was quite, suspicious, and then they came from the north, and then they had to report that, to the security agencies. That's quite brilliant. Looking at what just happened in Benue State, they just have to be very careful of people who come in, and when they notice anything that is suspicious, they must actually, report it to the security agencies. All right, I think that's my last paper this morning. Now let me turn to Samson Balogo. As a matter of fact, this morning we're doing it together. I don't know. I might have you as my analyst, or we can just talk about it this morning. How are you doing? Once again. All right, thank you. So let's look at the first story in Nigerian Tribune that says Benue crisis, Tinubu directs security chiefs to implement earlier directive. Poor praise for Benue people, says incident terrible, massacre. I'm sure you saw some videos online, and then the complaints of a lot of people.
It's a gory sight.
Okay.
These are things we should not be saying, often. It really should not happen, especially with lives and properties at stake in that part of the country. Then the question is, how well is the government prepared to actually end insecurity in that part of, not just in the North Central, how about every other part of the country?
Exactly.
Don't forget, even in the Northeast, Northwest, they are still having issues with banditry, insurgency.
Don't even forget the Owo massacre.
You
remember the Owo massacre, exactly.
And recently, they got a note that there will be a return of, those set of bandits that actually visited over that time. So now, the way insecurity is being handled in Nigeria, for me, it's beginning to look more of, beginning to look political, because why is it that when the election is coming, a lot of things happen, and when it is about time for the election, then you begin to have more or less of a standstill, and then after the election again, then things begin to happen again.
I also feel like, when the president came on board in 2023, we didn't hear issues of kidnapping, but then after a while, it came up again. Now,
that's exactly why I said it's becoming political, because I think some people somewhere, they are just more or less like, well, if the presidency or the the president is not doing exactly what we want him to do, then we are going to create problems for him. And we should not forget that these people who are actually dying on a daily basis, they are actually Nigerians too. These are our brothers and sisters, and if we continue to play politics with their lives and properties, then what will happen? How many people will be left in that state, in that region, come the next election? Don't forget, you are still going to need their votes. Now, the problem is, we do more of talking in Nigeria than taking action. Because recently, I think about Benue State and Plateau State, that there has been a lot of killings in that place, and then the security chiefs, you actually nip it in the bud. And up till now, nothing has been done. And then all of a sudden, Tinubu directs security chiefs to implement earlier directive. What happened before now? Why didn't they implement the directive before now?
I also read in the news that even these places that were attacked, I mean, they've given them a kind of notice. I mean, that's the effrontery that these people have. They give them a notice, they are coming and they show up.
Now that takes us to the reason why this is being done. There are insinuations that this is, in fact, if you juxtapose this to what they had in Rwanda a few years ago, you understand the fact that this is becoming and looking like ethnic cleansing to me. Because what exactly is happening? Why is it that that same place, every now and then there is security challenges? And the question is, do they have military bases in those places? Are there security posts? If they have this, why is it that they don't have prompt response when there are calls that there's going to be some sort of insecurity in that part of the country?
On that, let me speak on something. I think another part in the same local government, Dordu, was also attacked, and I heard that they had to call on security personnel, including the army. But a lot of them, they killed two. I think they killed about two security men, and then those people could not actually withstand, I mean, the kind of weapons they had, and then their numbers and the likes. So I want to ask, or let's just talk about it now. Is it that there are no adequate, security personnel on ground to actually tackle this issue? Because they actually called on them, but they could not rescue the situation.
I don't think it's about personnel now. It's about intelligence gathering. How solid is the intelligence available to the military personnel on ground? And then the question now is, again, is that do they get, when they get this intelligence, do they have counterintelligence? I mean, at a point when you have a certain form of information and then all of a sudden something changes and nobody is telling you it has changed, and then military men will go into a particular community and they are ambushed, they lose men. I don't think they are going to be encouraged to come back next time. Now, the issue of whistleblowing in Nigeria is nothing but to actually make sure that security personnel get the needed information to act on. If we don't have enough intelligence gathering for bandits, how do we fight insurgency, especially ones that actually, come from outside the country? Don't forget, there are, insinuations that a majority of the men that actually come to perpetrate this evil, they don't even speak native languages.
Of course.
They don't speak Hausa. So where are they coming from? Those are the questions, because I've heard people say most of them actually cross the border, come and operate, and then they go back.
And apart from that, where do they get resources to actually buy all of these arms and then they keep operating?
That's why I said many a times, if insurgency or insecurity in a part of the country lasts more than a day, means that there is something wrong with the security apparatus in that part of the country. Now, when we talk about terrorism sponsorship, people are actually, it's a business for some people. And then some of them have foreign influence. There are countries who are actually thriving on making sure that a certain part of the country is, in disarray. Don't forget, there are states in Nigeria where there are large deposits of mineral resources. Go and check. Majority of these places, they are under heavy security challenges. Take, for example, in some states, there are gold deposits, diamond. In fact, the biggest fish market in Nigeria, which is Baga in Maiduguri, Northeast, at a point was under the control of the bandits, the terrorists. So it means that there are reasons why all these things are being done.
This takes me to Benue State, the food basket of the state.
Basket of
because they are having issues in producing, going to the farm. And I also read that, some people complained about the fact that they cannot go to some places because these people have taken over their farm space.
I'm able to say that there are a lot of territories under bandits' control in Nigeria as we speak. Even in Borno State and in some major states, at a point in Niger State too, there were places where bandits were controlling. And what they do is that they come to your farmland and say, you are going to pay so amount of money, or otherwise you will not be allowed to farm. Now, how is it possible that food will not be expensive when they are being double taxed? Bandits will get their own tax, and of course they pay so much money to transport these goods down to the southwestern part of Nigeria, the southeastern part, to every other place in the country. The question is, why are these people being sent away from the farm? Don't forget, even in the southwest, farmers are having serious issues as regards their farmlands. Some people somewhere, bandits, whatever, cattle rustlers,
cases in Osun,
cattle rustlers, even in Ibadan. There's a community in Ido where, in fact, they are losing lives and properties on a daily basis, and nobody's talking about it. See, if we fail to arrest this situation, at the early stage, because it's getting worse and worse by the day.
And Nigeria cannot survive without production, because I recall that in the 60s, I mean, we were exporting, you know, seriously, and then we helped the economy.
That's exactly where,
like what is happening currently?
No economy will survive if they solely depend on what they import. Now, over time, Nigeria used to be an exporting economy. We used to have, exchange. You know, we exchange commodities.
It helped our naira.
Yes, and now we solely depend on what we bring. In fact, we import as low as toothpick. So it tells you how badly injured the Nigerian economy is at this point.
And also, I think even back then in the 60s, 70s, most people were operating at the subsistence level. But now we have mechanized farming, but nothing is changing. As a matter of fact, things are not working. Imagine some people, as a matter of fact, in some places, they don't even have enough to eat, not to talk of exporting to other parts of the country.
The problem is, if the cost of production is too high, how do you intend to sell? Because there is a price gauge. People have an idea of what exactly a certain commodity should cost per time. Take, for example, when fuel was at 160 naira per liter, 80 naira per liter, 200 naira per liter, I think 216. People know, okay, for this rate, if you buy fuel for this rate, a tuber of yam should not cost more than so amount of an X amount of money. Now, fuel is being sold at almost 1,000 naira. And aside from that, they are being double taxed. Bandits will do theirs, others will, I mean, the government will also take a certain part of the money, especially when it comes to buying fuel to transport your goods and some other ticketings they must pay for. Now, if it is that expensive to produce, how do you intend to sell? So it is farming that used to be lucrative and attractive to people is becoming less lucrative. Then what exactly is the problem? Where is the problem coming from? Now, I spoke about foreign influence the other time. If a country wants to be totally independent, then you must be a producing economy, meaning that you are still going to sell part of what you have produced to other countries, meaning export. You have a leverage. Your currency has a leverage on something, because if you are not importing and exporting, there's no way Forex is going to back and forth. It will not happen.
Let's not even talk about the psyche of an average African man. They feel like products that I can buy here, they are somewhat inferior, and then I don't know if you have experienced that, you know, with people before. So that's also another issue that we must, you know, talk about.
I think some countries are already, they have done that, and I think this is the stage where the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria really has to act on what he said. He's encouraging buy in naira and sell in naira kind of business model, which means that we must first of all buy from a Nigerian before you start importing. Exactly. It is only when you cannot find what you are looking for in Nigeria that you can, I think under Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, there was something called the austerity measure, meaning that you pay more for expensive items, and then for things that are basic needs, you pay less. So I think that should also be looked into, because now people depend solely on what they import. I sometimes when I see what people import from, you know, from these online platforms, especially from China, from America, I wonder, these are things you can get in Nigeria. But then something pushes an average Nigerian to think that goods produced in Nigeria are of inferior quality.
It's the mindset and the side.
That's the problem.
Speaking of China, you spoke about China. I feel like with the way China is going now, before 2030, there will be no African home without a China product, like a Chinese product. That's the goal. Because, I mean, they're doing very well from themselves, but we can't say the same about some of these African... Is it an African thing, really?
Well, it is not really an African thing, but it is becoming more prevalent in Africa to believe that we are inferior. I think it's the mentality. You see an average African man saying a white man, and then they begin to feel like he's superior in one way or the other. And then when you realize that... take, for example, there's going to be a construction project, and what you'll see is that they will say they are bringing an expatriate. An expatriate that they are bringing might not have a qualification better than a technical college, graduates in Nigeria. But then the point is, the quality of education they get there. Why can't you? You cannot compare.
A lot of them don't even go to the universities
abroad. They don't. That's what I'm saying.
Especially in UK, the tuition fee is high.
That's what I'm saying.
But if you cannot compare, before you can compare a college student over there with what we have here, when you listen to them talk, you listen to them converse, you know that they are loaded. All right, before we actually move away from this story, let's look at what Aisha Yesufu talked about. I'm sure you know, a Nigerian activist. Yeah. She said that the president should resign. Why? Because he delayed in speaking to the issue or the massacre that happened in Benue State. And the president did not say anything until, I think, yesterday evening, actually. What do you make of that statement?
I think, well, everyone has an opinion, and everyone has a right to his or her own opinion. I wouldn't blame the president for staying a little bit long before he actually had a say on what actually happened in Benue State, because sometimes, see, it's a desperate situation, and the president really had to think about what to say in order not to, say too much or say less. Okay. Sometimes you evaluate the situation before you comment. Even as individuals, there are situations where you prefer to stay silent for a little bit longer before you actually decide on what to say, when and how. The issue of insecurity in the country, I think only a person that really do not value lives of humans will not really be concerned. And I think the president is concerned at this point that it is actually getting too much. Don't forget, this is not the first time we are having security challenges. It has always been like that. When President Olusegun Obasanjo was in charge then, we had security challenges.
Even the former president, Goodluck Jonathan,
and even President, we have had serious bombings in Nigeria. And
we are beginning to see it as a new normal, and it's not normal at all.
It's not. I think it was someone said that it's not as worse as what they have in Afghanistan, and I said that's the most
comparison.
That's the most reckless statement you will hear from someone in the political arena, or someone who has been saddled with the responsibility of protecting and serving Nigerians. So the president knew what was right. Sometimes, see, it is a lot easier to actually comment about a football game when you're on the sidelines. If you are actually on the field, you do less of thinking and you do more of actions, because you do not have the luxury of
under pressure.
You are under pressure to take decisions. And don't forget, this is Nigeria. We are about 250 million people, and there are decisions to be made that concerns lives and properties of every one of us. So if the president is taking his time to talk, doesn't mean he's weak. It just means that he had a lot of consultations to do before he actually comes out. Don't forget, the president cannot just read on the pages of the newspaper and say, this is what I have to say. There are people who are concerned. That particular community or the police post there, they have a DPO. That DPO has to report, give security situations in that place to probably the commissioner of police, and the commissioner of police reports to the IG, and then from the IG down to the president or the security advisor.
Don't you think there are people in charge of that, that gives this report to the president, and then to ensure prompt,
that's what I'm saying,
response on the issue?
There is a chain of command. And you don't expect the president to actually link up with a DPO in the community to say exactly what exactly is going on.
Ranks.
So there are ranks. So you have to report through the chain of command. And when that is done, I don't think that can be done in 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So after gathering all the intelligence, after getting all the information, they have to access and see exactly what they can do to actually put an end to insecurity. The only thing that I complain about is the fact that it is taking too long and it is getting too much. Why is it that it is the same?
The reports was everywhere from Saturday morning to Sunday.
Yeah, see, the idea of pinning the blame solely on the presidency, it's something that we really should look at in the country.
Okay.
People forget that they have local government chairmen. People forget that they have councillors. People forget that they have state governors. They have members of House of Assembly, and they have members of House of Rep. These people are accountable to you because you voted them into power. But many a times people direct all the blame, all the anger to the presidency. Yes, it's the focal point of governance in Nigeria, but there are things we should look at too. These people also have responsibilities. The reason we have subnational government in the country is because it is to simplify government and simplify decision making. When there are security challenges, state governors will tell you they are not in charge of security apparatus in the country, and they do not have access. But then when it is time for election, you see how they control policemen. You see how they control the NSCDC. They put them in their favorite location. So it tells you that it's not that they do not have influence. It is their will to actually act. That is the problem.
Okay, I totally get you. I just feel like the reason why a lot of Nigerians are on top of this matter is because they feel like if they have a president, the president should be accountable to them at some point. So I feel like, I mean, when the president came out to talk, I'm sure a lot of persons were relieved. But when you don't know something, when you don't know the reason for delay, sometimes you're worried and then you are tempted to do a lot of talking. So I think that's what a lot of Nigerians are actually going through.
I mentioned something to someone over the weekend that one of the mistakes of this administration that probably might give them a tough time during the next election is the fact that they have this poor communication skills. There is a gap, there is a lacuna between the people and the government because the communication flow is not there. You know, there are decisions that has been taken by this administration that people don't even know. Don't forget, at the point, even the student was asking me about the student loan scheme. I was like, don't you have access to information? He said, it really does not. He hasn't seen so much of it on social media. So if these things continue to happen, people will not know that the government is actually taking some decisions. They're actually acting on some information they get, but the blame will be coming back to the government because people do not know.
You don't know. I mean, that's
so
why
you cannot be on top of the situation when you do not have information. So it's a challenge, and I think this government should look into it. There was a time they had a jury in Gelale who resigned. See, if you cannot keep your best hand, then there is a problem. Let's also talk about
the fact that, I mean, the Pope in Far Rome commented on the issue before the president. I mean, that was what actually, you know, made a lot of Nigerians to say that, okay, the president should actually resign, because why? If the Pope over there can actually react on this issue before the president of the country, I mean, a lot is going on. Well,
you know, there used to be a time when information really do not travel this fast. When the social media is not as, you know, as
the communication lines are expanding by the day.
So the communication line is expanding by the day, and obviously, once something happens, someone takes a photograph or makes a video, puts it on social media, people tend to get information faster than it used to be. So the Pope would have gotten the information from anywhere. But the decision by the presidency to actually delay his comment on what happened in Benue still boils down to the fact that there is a problem with the communication department.
And that should be worked upon.
That should be worked upon.
So that people can understand what is going on.
Okay. During the you know, Democracy Day, the president was meant to actually address the country 7 a.m. in the morning.
But it changed.
And all of a sudden, it changed, and they said, okay, he has an engagement at the National Assembly. See, yes, it is important that you actually go to the floor of the National Assembly and discuss some things, but the people want to hear from you directly. So if you
that's why I mentioned accountability.
Yeah, if you had to cancel your one-on-one with the you know, with the people, and then decide to talk to the members of the House of Assembly or the joint you know, assembly, then there are things the president really needs to work on. And that is the fact that, yes, these people are representing most Nigerians, but don't forget, some people still have issues with their representatives. They are like, I don't think this... I've seen a member of Rep that has never raised his hand on the floor of the House, and he's a member.
Nice.
I've seen a member that has never sponsored a bill. So, and they are members of the House. So
sometimes
it tells you how weak that place
the masses also see some of the issues going on, you know, within the whole, you know, National Assembly, issues here and there, I mean, that is affecting, I mean, the people. And sometimes the masses feel like they don't actually, you know, they are not after the interests of the majority.
See, there was a time, you see, there are several issues that has actually happened on the floor of the House that derailed governance in the country. Maybe, if not derailed, probably shifted the attention of the people from things that really matter. Don't forget, at the point they were discussing Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduahan and the Senate President, that one took long. And even the case is still there. They have not really settled. So it has always happened like that. There's always something to talk about. And at the point I felt like it's a deliberate ploy by the National Assembly or whoever it is to make sure that Nigerians lose focus of things that really matter. And if Nigerians really have to be careful right now. They must understand the fact that, look, regardless of other stories, you know, from here and there, what matters is good governance, accountability,
communication. All right.
And,
thank you very much on that story. We do wish, as a matter of fact, I read into the news that, I mean, some, you know, the president has, you know, given some instructions, concerning Benue State. I mean, security personnel must be there, the IGP as well. So we do wish that, this issue of killing and then burning houses
be brought to an end.
Exactly. All right, before we go, let's quickly talk about this headline on Brooklyn newspaper. It says 2027 Northeast APC endorses Tinubu Shettima ticket. However, I saw some serious videos online yesterday, and then I was wondering, I mean, the security personnel had to rescue the likes of Ganduje and a quite number of stakeholders in the APC out of the scene, because if not, I don't know what could have happened yesterday, because I feel like these people spoke about, President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu 2027, and then they didn't actually mention Shettima. And then the people are concerned. As a matter of fact, Zulum, he mentioned the fact that, there is no vote for APC in 2027 without Shettima. And then do you think this is actually pointing to the fact that there might be some underground, gist about the fact that Shettima might be asked to leave, and then they will take on another person to actually be the vice president?
Actually, this story is not new. It's just that it happened so early. I think about a month ago, there was a story on, I think, a Punch newspaper that spoke about the fact that the president should not, change Kashim Shettima. And right now, I think I'll remember the name. But then, obviously, there are permutations and combinations going on behind the scene as regards who the president is going to take as his, running mate ahead of the next presidential election, 2027. But then, don't forget that a voting bloc as big as the Northeast cannot be, underestimated. Don't forget they had a huge vote from there in the last election.
Yes.
But there might be a change of idea from the president, like you want someone else. But if that is going to happen,
the Northeast will not have it. Looking at what I saw yesterday,
that's the problem.
No vote for APC. They are so.
In fact, there were chants Tinubu, and some people were answering, even though they were not asked to answer. They were Tinubu, Shettima. So it was intense, and it's a political deadlock right now in that part of the country. I'm sure the northeastern part of the country will not take that from anybody.
Let's not also forget the fact that Shettima is very strong. In the northern part of the state.
It's not just a pushover when we talk about Nigerian politics. He has been there, and he knows what it takes to actually get votes from there. Don't forget, he was a two-time governor, so he knows exactly what he has to do.
And from the look of things, apart from the fact that he has the support of the people, he also has the support of some governors, some APC governors. So it's a lot to unpack.
Honestly, it's a different topic entirely.
Maybe next time we'll have the privilege to talk about this. However, Samson Balogun, thank you this morning for making this great. All right, it's time to move on to the next segment this morning. Thank you for being a part of this. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun, and then Samson Balogun is waiting for you to talk about the big story this morning. Please stay with us at the Steel Dominion Television and Daybreak Live. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome to The Big Story on Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television. Today we shine a spotlight on a life-saving act that often goes unnoticed until crisis hits, which is blood donation. In a country where road accidents, childbirth complications, and emergency surgeries are all too common, the demand for blood is ever present. But how prepared are our blood banks? What role do they truly play when every second counts and a single pint of blood could mean the difference between life and death? Join us as we unravel the significance of blood banks in emergency response and why voluntary blood donation is not just a good deed but a civic responsibility. Good morning once again. Samson Balogun is my name. Now, blood is not something we can manufacture. It must be given, and yet thousands of lives are lost daily due to its unavailability at critical moments. In today's conversation, we'll explore the structure of blood banks, the challenges they face, and their indispensable role in emergency medicine and trauma care. We'll also engage with medical experts and donation advocates to understand how voluntary, consistent blood donation can transform our healthcare system. It is time to confront the reality. Without donors, there's no blood. Without blood, there's no chance for survival. Welcome once again to The Big Story. This morning, I'll be having an in-depth conversation with Dr. Aworanti, a consultant, and also the Zonal Director, National Blood Service Agency, Southwest Zonal Center, Ibadan. All right, Dr. Aworanti, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, we'll be talking about blood donation in the country. The World Blood Donation Day actually was over the weekend. And you played an important role in that. As a matter of fact, I think that's why you won't be live with us in the studio today. But of course, we have a lot to talk about as regards that. Now, what exactly is the function of a blood bank in the healthcare system?
Well, blood bank is actually an important part of healthcare system. They are the ones that actually form the backbone of the blood of the healthcare system. Most of the patients that we manage, most of them actually need blood. Is it a pregnant woman? Is it a newborn? Under 5 with malaria, sickle cell disease patients, and patients with malignancies, one way or the other, they actually need blood. So, and unfortunately, blood is the only part of healthcare system that we will not be able to produce. So we depend on people to make this available.
Okay, now can you walk us through the process of blood, how blood is collected? I mean, how it gets tested and the likes.
Okay, so for an individual to actually donate in any blood bank, there's what we call the donor screening. The individual will come in, and then we'll check if the individual is fit to donate. We'll start from the checking of the weight. We'll look at the blood pressure, the way the heart is beating, you are doing well, and then we now check the hemoglobin level, which is the blood level that we want to, from the blood that we want to take from the patient. From there, we allow the patient, if the patient has not eaten, allow the patient and then we allow the patient to donate. But there are the individuals to donate. But there are 2 types of individuals. Individual can be fit for donation, and there are some individuals that are not fit. So we allow them to eventually go home. We schedule the appointment, tell them why they are not fit, and then possibly give them another appointment. So that's, and after the blood is donated, we also take the blood for screening. We screen the unit of blood and be sure that this blood can actually be given. Because after the blood has been taken, we also do screens. We want to see the blood is HIV positive, it is hepatitis B, or hepatitis C positive. These are the things we do. And then if the blood is HIV, hepatitis B or C positive, we get across to the donor. And from there, we do a proper referral.
Okay.
That's how we actually allow the individual to do it.
All right. Then how important is timely blood availability during medical emergencies and accident cases?
It's actually an important part because, when we talk about blood bank, it's like financial banking system. You must be able to get funds at every point in time. So if there is no blood and there is an emergency, there's no way that individual will survive. So it's important. It must be readily available at every point in time. And that's why we also celebrate our donors, voluntary blood donors, because they give this unit of blood without even looking back, without checking, without seeing what is actually happening to the individual. They don't even want to know who they are giving the blood to. So they are very important in what we do. Because the blood is important. You don't know who will need the unit of blood. Might be your classmate, might be your relative, might be your friend. So the blood must always be available in any of the blood banks so that you can actually assist the patient.
All right. In your experience, how often do hospitals face shortages of blood during emergencies?
Can you come up again? Can you come again?
How often do hospitals face shortages when it comes to blood during emergencies?
Well, it's quite difficult to say this is how it happens because it is what is reported that you can see. But I'm sure there are individuals that also come to our facilities looking for units of blood. And when you discuss with them, they will tell you they have gone through a lot. And when you see them, you just sit down. When you say there is no unit of blood, you feel tired. So there are individuals that we cannot, the transfusion demand in the country is not able to meet up. And it's not too good for us not to meet up with the transfusion demand.
All right. You had the World Blood Donation Day recently. How was the turnout? And going forward, compared to what you used to have, what's the difference? And going forward, what do you think you can do to encourage more people to come out and donate blood?
Yes, the last one showed that there are organizations that want to partner, but individuals will not be responding yet. The organizations that actually came out to join us for the drive, for the awareness program, and to do the thank you for the voluntary blood donors. But individuals that will now donate, they are not as many as they used to be. This is because we have a lot of people believe that they don't have what they are looking for because they think and when you speak with anybody, come and donate, the first thing they will say is, how do you know that I don't even have that unit of blood? How do you know that I'm fit to donate? So we need to let them know that we need to check, we screen you before you actually donate. So most of them believe that they don't have that blood because they think the economy of the country will have affected their blood and then they may not be fit. So the number of individuals coming to donate has reduced, but organizations are now partnering so that we can increase the awareness and subsequently increase the number of people that are donating. It's going to take some time, and we have started taking the right steps so that we can get people to donate.
Now, what are the biggest challenges facing blood banks in maintaining adequate supply levels?
I think the biggest challenge is individuals to donate. That's the biggest challenge. Nigeria is developing on the gradual level. We are moving from one level to another. But the most difficult part for us is to get people to donate. As soon as we get people to donate, we can meet our transfusion demand. We can do fractionation, we can separate our units, we have people that can actually, we have hospitals that can take these units of blood, and then people will live longer. But the challenge is we don't have people to donate. The other challenge is electricity, because the blood must be a particular temperature. So if any blood bank is coming up, apart from having full electricity supply from maybe IBDC or any distribution company, they also need to have alternative power supply. So all these things are also challenging, and that's why you see people that want to access units of blood accessing as high as some amount of money that I'm not supposed to be seeing on the air. So that's one of our challenges. And then the other challenge is regulation, which is actually approaching very fast. The National Blood Service Agency is now working seriously on regulation. So before you know it, there will be approval for blood banks, the accreditation for programs before you can actually start operating a blood bank. So the other one is most of these blood banks are not being retrained. And I think in the next few weeks, we'll see training and retraining of people working in the blood bank. So things are getting better. The only challenge that we are having currently is that we need people to donate, and then we can satisfy the transfusion demand in the country.
All right. How many times do people need to donate to keep the blood bank stocked?
So the challenge that we have is that most of the donors that we have currently, they are actually ceremonial donors. They actually come during World Blood Donor Day or their birthday. So we need to actually make them regular donors so that they can come as often as they are required to come. For a man, they are supposed to have to donate 4 times in a year, and a woman 3 times in a year. So if we can do that too, that will also improve the number of blood units that we have in the country.
All right. You mentioned that some are ceremonial donors, and there is need for and cause for people to actually donate on a regular basis. So what modalities, what approach are you using to make sure that people actually have the necessary information to know that they have to do this on a regular basis?
One of those things that is expected of us is what we are doing now. Conversation about blood transfusion service in the country. And then I think the media also play an important role in ensuring that this is done. So if we have conversations like this, I'm sure people will actually improve. They will get better as regards voluntary blood donation in the country.
All right. Are there certain types of blood that are more urgently needed or frequently in short supply?
And the issue is the commonest blood anywhere in the world is ORAG positive. So they are the ones that are actually in high demand. Either we like it or not, we need to satisfy people with that blood group first, and then the other blood group. So there is no blood group that is not important. For an individual that needs blood, as soon as they can get it, they have met their demand. So for somebody that is not O positive, that is B positive, if you cannot meet at that point, you will not be happy with this. So every blood group is important, although there are more people with O positive blood, and then we need to attend to them. We also get more of O positive when we go for blood drive. So every blood group is important, and then we need to meet up with the demand.
Okay, very quickly before we go, what messages would you give to viewers right now who are hesitant or unaware of the importance of donating blood?
Yes, my message to people out there is to actually be part of us. They should join us as we actually try to meet the transfusion demands of the country. As I said earlier, blood is the only material in the hospital that we cannot produce. We have drugs for hypertension, we have drugs for diabetes, but we don't have drugs for somebody that has reduced blood. So we need people to actually partner with us individuals, organizations to partner with us so that we can actually meet the transition demands of the country.
All right, Dr. Aworanti, thank you for joining us in the studio this morning.
You're welcome, sir.
Good to have you on the show. All right, Dr. Oladapo Aworanti is a consultant, Zonal Director, National Blood Service Agency, Southwest Zonal Center, Ibadan. He has been my guest on the show on The Big Story this morning. Let's go on a short break, and when we return, The Big Story continues on Daybreak Live. We'll be back after this time out. All right, welcome back from that short break. The show is still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, and of course, this is The Big Story, where we bring you unbiased analysis and undiluted reportage. And today we have been having guests as regards the recently conducted World Blood Donation Day. And joining me in the studio live this morning is Dr. Odunwayo Akao, the Head Monitoring and Evaluation Unit, NBSA Ibadan. Good to have you in the studio, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, there are a lot of questions. People are beginning to ask questions as regards blood donation, and we have had reasons to believe that some people are ceremonial blood donors. They only come on when you have ceremonies like that to commemorate World Blood Donation Day. Now, how do you intend to make sure that more Nigerians voluntarily donate blood, especially at a time where there are emergencies and situations where blood is needed?
Thank you very much. And that is one of the main reasons why we celebrate the World Blood Donor Day on June 14th every year. It's a day we use to raise public awareness on the need for people to come out, not only on June 14th, but all the time throughout the year round. For example, for males, they can donate 4 times in a year. So we don't want it to be like just once in a year they will be coming to donate blood. We want healthy males to come 4 times in a year, every 3 months. And for females as well, they can also donate 3 times in a year. So they can come every 4 months. to donate blood so that there won't be shortage of blood at any point in time.
Okay, for a person that has never donated blood, are there risks involved?
Well, thank you very much. For some, there might be, but generally, we do not really have any risk for someone that has not donated before. But like we know, it's always good to donate to save people's lives. When you donate blood for someone, you are giving someone another chance to live. You are giving hope for someone else. You are giving someone another chance for healing. And that is why we encourage as many people as possible, healthy people, to come around and donate blood for patients.
All right. What kind of emergency or medical situations will warrant, the need for blood transfusion?
Thank you very much. We have mothers during pregnancy, during delivery, and even after delivery. We have some mothers that might require blood at that point in time. We also have accident victims. When people have accidents, they could bleed, and at that point in time, they'll need blood transfusion. We also have people going in for surgeries. We have people going for surgeries as a result of some forms of ailments, and they might need transfusion during surgery. We also have some children too. When they have severe malaria, they can come down with anemia, and they could require transfusion. We also have some people with chronic diseases. We have some tuberculosis patients, we have HIV patients, we have cancer patients. They might also need blood transfusion. And some hematological diseases, such as sickle cell disease patients, they also could require blood transfusion at some time.
Do we have enough blood banks in Nigeria?
Presently, we do not have, because for every country to be able to serve its country, we should have at least 1% of the population of a country donating blood. In Nigeria presently, for us to have sufficient blood supply, we should have about 2 million people donating blood annually. But presently, we have like half of that figure donating blood. So presently, we do not have enough blood.
So there is shortage of blood.
Presently, we have shortage in Nigeria, and that is why we are always encouraging, telling people the need to always come around and donate blood.
So when we talk about blood donation, what frequency are you looking at? How many times do people really need to come down to donate blood? And then how can people donate blood? Some people they are willing to do it, but they don't even know how to go about it. So what are the processes? What do people really have to do before they even come to you to be screened?
Well, it's a simple process. It takes like about 15 minutes. So for healthy adults, they can just walk in. When they walk in into our own center, we ask them to fill some questionnaires. We ask them some questions about their health. When we are sure that with the questionnaires, the questions are okay, their answers are fine, we go on to do a basic medical check where we check their blood pressure, we check their hemoglobin level, we check their weight, and when we see that they are okay, then we go ahead with the donation, and it takes roughly about 15 minutes. It doesn't take more than that. No. But we have to ensure the donor is safe, the donor is fit before we can go ahead with the collection.
At a go, what quantity of blood would a person donate?
We take 450 mils, 450 mils.
At a go.
And at a go is just a unit, and a unit is 450 mils.
And for a person who has voluntarily donated blood, what do they stand to benefit? Are there benefits?
Thank you very much. There are benefits. For someone donating blood, you have access for a basic health check. For example, like I said earlier, when you come around, we check your blood pressure. A lot of people do not check their blood pressure. So when you come around, we check. And if we see any abnormality, we let you know. We don't go ahead with the collection. If the blood pressure is too high, we refer them for treatment. So we also check hemoglobin level. If you see that the hemoglobin level is even too low for that individual, we also give counseling on what to do to bring up the.
So there's a possibility a person comes to donate blood and discovers he or she doesn't even have enough.
Yes, doesn't have enough. And even after the donation, we still screen the blood for the 4 TTIs recommended by the World Health Organization. We screen for HIV 1 and 2. We screen for hepatitis B, hepatitis C, hepatitis syphilis as well. So in case we detect any of these viruses in the blood, we also cancel the donor. And that is an advantage, because a lot of people do not go for medical checkup. So it could be just that time that the person might be discovering that he or she has one of the virus, and he or she will be encouraged, counseled to go for treatments.
All right. This year's theme for the World Blood Donor Day, what exactly is the theme?
The theme is give blood, give hope, together we save lives.
So what's the significance of that theme?
Yes,
Why that theme this year?
Yes, every year we have different themes, but this year we have chosen that just to let people know that when you give blood, you are giving hope. Somebody that is sick, somebody that has a road traffic accident and bleeding, somebody that is hopeless, you are giving that person another hope to live. And that is why we say give blood. When you give blood, you are giving hope, and together we are saving lives of people that probably one way or the other they might have passed on.
All right, what exactly is the reason that we still have issues as regards voluntary blood donation in Nigeria? What are the challenges so far, and what do you think are the reasons why people are still reluctant on coming out voluntarily to donate blood?
Thank you very much. A lot of people do not even know, and that is why from time to time we go about raising this awareness. A lot of people do not know. Then there are some myths and misconceptions about blood donation. Some people feel I don't have enough. But when they come around and we check, unless you come around and we check, you cannot say you do not have enough. So a lot of people do not even know they have enough. A lot of people are afraid. A lot of people will say, what do I think? What do I know they will use this blood for? But when you come around, we counsel you, we explain the nitty-gritty of blood donation to you, that your blood is safe. From us to the end user, we can actually monitor what your blood is being used for. So all these myths and misconceptions, when people come around, we counsel them, and they also agree with us that it is always good to donate blood.
Now, there are reports that donors, they donate for free, but then blood banks tend to sell them. So how did you come about that situation?
Thank you very much. In National Blood Service Agency, it's a government organization, and we do not sell blood. What we charge is called like an access fee. Okay. Like an access fee. Government has really subsidized the price of blood units in our own center. If government has not subsidized, a unit of blood can go for as much as 50,000. Okay. And in our own center, you just pay 10,000. A highly subsidized rate. Because we have to charge that amount because, of course, you know, in Nigeria now, the power supply, we have to maintain cold chain and a lot of things that goes into preparation of this blood before it can be suitable for use. So that is why we charge just 10,000 naira.
Is there a particular blood group that is rarely found or scarce to get, especially in case of emergencies?
Well, we have some rare blood group. We have some rare group like the O negative, and that is why we encourage people to come. If people are coming, even those rare groups, we will still have them. But if people are not coming, we might not really have those rare groups. And that is why we want everybody to come around. If people come around, we are going to be having those rare groups in stock for those that will need them.
All right, so what are the common medical myths that people actually have as regards blood donation? For some reason, people have this perception about some things and they feel like, no, I don't want to donate, especially for people who are actually scared of checking themselves out as regards their health status.
And that is why I said checking our health status is very important. So people should see it as an advantage. It's also an advantage that when I come out to donate blood, I also get to know where my health status is. And that is why myths like, what do I know they will use my blood for? Some people are scared. Probably their blood will be used for something. I don't know if you understand. Some people are scared that how do I know what they are using this blood for? For people like that, they can actually monitor, because after the donation, after screening, and the blood has gotten to the end user, we still call them to appreciate them. That thank you for giving this blood. Your blood has been used by a patient, and that will give them a rest of mind that their blood has actually been used to save somebody's life.
All right, are there policies you would love to see implemented as regards to improve blood donation in the country, and of course to improve blood banking?
Well, policies like government encouraging people, telling people, bringing on campaigns. It shouldn't be a yearly program, shouldn't be June 12 alone. For example, Nigeria already has its own day now. You know, June 14 is a global thing. Every country around the globe celebrates June 12. But in Nigeria also, we also have our own National Blood Donor Day as well. So making it twice a year that Nigeria will be celebrating June 14 will be for World Blood Donor Day. And we also have a day in December 8th, where we celebrate National Blood Donor Day. So that's another policy for Nigeria, that Nigeria is having our own National Blood Donor Day as well.
All right. What message do you have for potential blood donors in Nigeria? Right
well, now? I want to use this medium to tell people that they should embrace the culture of giving blood voluntarily, not by coercion, having it at the back of their mind that when they donate blood, they are actually saving people's lives.
Dr. Odunayo Akan, thank you for joining us in the studio this morning.
You are welcome.
Good to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure.
Dr. Odunayo Akan is the head Monitoring and Evaluation Unit, NBSA Ibadan. And of course, that wraps up this segment of the show this morning. And this has been the big story on Daybreak Live. We hope this particular segment of the show brings you needed information you need, and of course the understanding to urgent need for voluntary blood donation and the silent but critical role blood banks play in saving lives daily. And of course, let's not wait for a tragedy to act. Be a donor, be a lifeline. Until next time, stay informed, stay compassionate, and stay connected with Dominion Television. The show has been Daybreak Live. Samson Balogun is my name.
to you. And many thanks for joining us on Daybreak Sport this lovely morning. My name is Boluwaji Ogumola. Well, of course, a whole lot's happening in world of sports at the weekend. Of course, it's time to take around them in just about 15 minutes. Let's kickstart from the NNL this morning, where Osun United have secured a place in the 2025 Nigerian National League Super 8 Playoffs Tournament. The Omoluabi Giants defeated First Bank Football Club 3-1 in their final game of the regular season in Ileogbo, decided on Saturday. Osun United finished as runners-up in the Group B with 36 points from 20 matches. Now, they've now qualified for the Super 8 playoffs alongside group leaders Kun Khalifat Football Club for the playoffs tournament. Other qualified teams include Wiki Tourist of Bauchi, as you can see on your screen, Doma United, Diobe Desert Stars, Barao Football Club, Warri Wolves, and Crown FC of Ogbomoso, our darling team here in Oyo State. Let me remind you that 4 teams will gain promotion to the Nigerian Premier Football League from that particular playoffs. And there you have how it ended in the Nigerian National League at the weekend in Conference A and Conference B. From the second tier of Nigerian League football, let's talk about the NPFL this morning, where the 2025-2026 season of the Nigerian Premier Football League will kick off on Friday, the 22nd of August. Chairman of the NPFL, Honorable Benga Elegbeleye, made the announcement during an interaction with media men in Abuja on Friday. Honorable Elegbeleye further said that the NPFL will seek to structure its calendar with other leagues in the world. The NPFL is expected to release the fixtures for the new season and registration guidelines for the players in coming weeks. You recall that Remo Stars Football Club of Ikenne, Ogun State won the title in the 2024-2025 season, with Rivers United of Port Harcourt coming second. For Remo Stars and of course Rivers United, they will represent Nigeria in the CAF Champions League next season, while third-placed Abia Warriors will compete in the CAF Confederations Cup next season as well. Well, away from football, let's touch on basketball this morning. Let's talk about the NBA organized Basketball Africa League as Al Hilal Tripoli claimed the 2025 Basketball Africa League title by defeating Petro de Luanda 88-67 points in Pretoria, South Africa on Saturday. Al Hilal Tripoli finished the tournament with a 9-1 record. They actually outplayed the Angolan side with Jean Boise coming off the bench to put them in charge of that game. What a win, and congratulations to them. Let me inform that a record 141,000 fans attended the games during the Basketball Africa League season. And straight to what you have on your screen right now, and that's the NBA Finals over the weekend as well. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 35 points as the Oklahoma City Thunder came from behind late on in the game to beat the Indiana Pacers and level the NBA Finals 2-2, as you have it on your screen. The Thunder won that game 111-104 points at the Gansbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis to tie the best-of-7 series at 2-2. The Thunder host the Game 5 later tonight, and that will be like the early hours of tomorrow morning, 1:30 BST. And of course, we'll be here for all of the updates later on tomorrow. Away from the NBA this morning, let's talk about the world of Formula One, where George Russell won Mercedes' first race of the season as McLaren teammate Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris clashed in the closing stages of the Canadian Grand Prix. Russell fended off Max Verstappen throughout the Grand Prix, while his Mercedes teammate Kim Antonelli took a maiden Formula One podium in third. And there you have on your screen the big win for George Russell of Mercedes, and of course Verstappen came second, and of course Antonelli came third. Away from the Formula One in entirety, let's cross to the UFC this morning, where Kamaru Usman ended his losing streak against Joaquin Buckley on Saturday, claiming an unanimous decision win over the American. The Nigerian nightmare Kamaru Usman came into the fight on the back of 3 straight defeats. The welterweight bout between Usman and Buckley headlined the UFC Atlanta fight card, of course, that took place at the State Farm Arena, Usman's last fought in October 2023, and he came up against Buckley, desperate for a win on Saturday. And after 5 rounds, the scorecard read 49-46, 49-46, and 49-46. And we'll say big congratulations to Kamaru Usman for that big win. Away from other sports, let's return to the world of football. But this time around, let's talk about the FIFA Club World Cup, where Lionel Messi and a heavy security presence were on show at the revamped FIFA Club World Cup that got underway in the United States on Saturday. Host city team, that's Inter Miami, led by Argentine legend Lionel Andres Messi, played out an entertaining goalless draw against Egyptian giant Al Ahly of Egypt to kick off the tournament. Well, away from that first game, let me also inform you that Palmeiras and FC Porto played out a goalless draw as well. In other matches seen yesterday, as you can see on your screen, Auckland City, a non-professional side from New Zealand, were actually humiliated 10-0, yes, by Bayern Munich in yesterday's game. Newly crowned European champions Paris Saint-Germain cruised past Atletico Madrid for a winning start in their first ever FIFA Club World Cup campaign. In other games, we also saw a 4-0 victory for, of course, for PSG, like I mentioned there on your screen. Botafogo, of course, played 2-1 against Seattle Sundowns. And, of course, today, more games will be played later today. We'll have Boca Juniors take on Benfica later tonight, and Chelsea at 8 p.m. will take on Los Angeles Football Club. Well, aside that, there you have the table actually in Group A. Al Ahly with 1 point. Porto with 1 point as well. Palmeiras also with 1 point, and Inter Miami with 1 point as well. All of the teams in Group A with 1 point apiece. Well, in Group B, we've got Paris Saint-Germain with the maximum points. 3 is what they've got at the moment. Botafogo with 3 points as well. Seattle Sundown with no point. And, of course, Atletico Madrid with no point as well. Let's take a look at fixtures for today. Like I mentioned earlier, yes, so we have the big one between Los Angeles and Chelsea taking place at 8 p.m. later tonight. And, of course, Boca Juniors versus Benfica of Portugal will also face off at 11 p.m. also tonight. Let me also inform you that another competition is currently going on as we speak. It's the CONCACAF Gold Cup. And let's take a look at some of the results we saw. United States of America last night defeated Trinidad and Tobago 5-0. Yes, Pochettino is the coach of the USA, while Dwight York took charge of Trinidad and Tobago. 5-0, what a win. And Saudi Arabia defeated Haiti by a single goal as well in the early hours of today. And the third game we saw, of course, Costa Rica winning 4-3 in the early hours of today as well. And that's sports this beautiful Monday morning. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back from that short break. That was the Break Sport with Boluwaji Ogunmola. And of course, the show is still the Break Live on Dominion Television, your channel of choice. We told you when we started the show that we have a lot to unpack on this show this morning. Of course, yes, don't forget to keep the conversation going by linking up with us on all social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, drop your comments there. Do what to link up with us on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. It is at Dominion Broadcast. And on X, formerly Twitter, it is at Dominion Cast. You can also watch us live and enjoy the show on www.dominion.org.ng. We now head straight to Trend Watch this morning. Yemi Adelakun is still here.
Yes, thank you, Samson. Okay, we have quite a number of interesting stories to talk about this morning. And the first one is talking about Israel DMW. It says, calling 001 my friend is absolutely wrong. He's my savior, my benefactor, my Oga, my own president, my everything. If I should come another life, I will be with him 100%. Honestly, I think he's trying to address people who still call him, you know, you are Davido's friend, this and that. He's trying to tell them that Davido is more than that.
He's bigger than that to
you. If I come to this world, I mean, the next time
I'll do it differently, and I'll still be his friend.
Be with him. Exactly. So I just feel like the relationship between both of them is kind of symbiotic. I mean, they rub off on each other. I mean, you see Israel DMW always, you know, trying to defend Davido anytime people are trying to drag him online. It's always intense. And then I feel like there are certain things that Davido is also, you know, doing for DMW. Might not be apparent to the public, but for someone to come out and say, my president, my savior, it speaks a lot.
You know, one of the things he has enjoyed with Davido is oftentimes he traveled with him.
Yes.
You know, whenever he has a show outside the country, he's the logistics manager, so he's practically with him all the time. Yeah. So that's an advantage. And of course, you know, he has refused to leave the scene lately. He has been in the news for either the right or the wrong reasons. I mean, Israel DMW, don't forget, recently his marriage crashed.
Yes.
And, you know, there were a lot of back and forth as regards, you know, what actually happened, what crashed the marriage between both of them. And then straight down to, I think a few days ago, when he slid into, you know, Fina's DM and said, look, I don't like the way you are relating with my ex-wife.
Fina no the
now. So Fina came out and leaked all the chats. Yes. And
one funny thing happened. I think when Fina leaked the chat, she posted the phone number of Israel DMW, and then Israel had to do same.
Posted
Fina's phone number as well. People were trying to on it. Last week was a lot.
I mean, that's one thing that really should not be happening. But
exactly,
you know, I think both of them were petty as regards the situation. They really did not handle it well.
Better ways to do things.
But Israel DMW, I think he does too much actually, because there are things he should have actually let. Some of these things are being rubbed on the video. And I think to an extent, Davido might eventually get advice to just discard him as regards, you know, this controversy.
Do you think that will happen at any point in time?
It might happen because, you know, sometimes you cannot deal, you are still busy dealing with your own controversy, and
there's a limit to what
someone else is dragging you into there. So it becomes a problem, and you cannot fight two battles at the same time. So you have to face one. So eventually, you might get the advice to just let Israel DMW.
But it's going to be a tough one, looking at, I mean, the kind of person he is.
For a long time.
I mean, he's going to come online and do a lot of things. But then, let's look at the first comment.
The comments.
Yes, it's coming from King Emmanuel Adeshino. It says, I don't know who loved Davido pass between Israel, Chief Priest, and Chioma. Because these guys want who David will love. I mean, that is so right.
Actually, it's nice to, especially when it's coming from a good place, when the love is coming from, you know, pure mind. It's
not
nice
because of
really,
what I'm gaining from you, I have pure love.
It's actually nice to have people who actually love you, and we always give you heads up whenever they see things that are really going wrong with you. So it's nice to see such things happening.
Because a lot of times it's not just about money. You need people. I mean,
because if it's about money, I think Cubana Chief Priest is okay. He's
okay. And he's always supporting Davido.
He's always rooting for him. So I don't think it's down to money alone. It's not down to financial gains nor some other things.
Even Davido himself, I think he's a free guy. I mean,
yeah, the way he relates to people, he tends to have such people around him. Don't forget, even at that, he will still have some sycophants around him too. So it doesn't matter. But the only thing is, if you're having people around you and most of them truly love you, I think it's a safe bet.
Exactly. Let's look at another comment. Is coming from Diary with Lillian. Yes, it says, now Jesus supposed get this salute and description, but then again, what do I know? I didn't think this person is talking about the fact that, you know, Israel said he's my savior. No,
I mean, that's a lot.
My benefactor.
But then I think it's actually relative. When it says he's my savior, I think we should not limit it to when we pray alone.
I think it's subjective.
You know, it's subjective. Sometimes people, they have done so much for you, and you like, I think
even let's look at, I mean, relationship between, I mean, siblings. Sometimes if you have like like maybe your sister, your big sister, when you want to ask for something, there's a way you praise
you
them. My mama, my this, my that.
Just make sure that you get
that you get what you're looking for. So I mean, it's all good.
And away from there, this morning, there's a trending story of a food content creator who actually became a Mrs. And that's Tosin Samuel. And she tied the knot with the love of her life.
Exactly.
Weekend, and there are a lot of reactions to the wedding.
I mean, I saw the post, and I saw, I think, about 1.3 million views already, comments and the likes.
In her words, she says, I just got married, officially Mrs. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord. And then she even had to put the Bible verse there.
Exactly.
So, I think it's interesting.
Yes.
Sometimes I still feel people share too much on social media. You know, as long as you want to be there, you want to post, there are things you read. We have seen celebrities who actually got married, gave birth to their kids, and they really do not put too much on social media.
Okay, but what about the fact
that
she didn't post her husband, actually?
She didn't, but, you know...
marriage is still marriage, Abby?
It's still marriage.
Okay.
And not too many people are, you know... See, the toxicity you get in your comment section, especially for those who are not really happy that you are doing things that are really that interesting, might actually give you, if care is not taken, one might slide into depression. You don't know that.
Exactly, and that's the reason why some top celebrities, I mean, especially in Nollywood, they had to arrest some persons because, I mean, they were saying a lot of things concerning them online.
I think there was a time Tony Abraham had an issue with someone.
I mean, a guy.
I mean, it's becoming too much. I think Nigerians should be educated on what you say to people on social media.
I mean, like, of all things to become in life, why become a troll? I mean, there are several careers that you can actually venture into.
I was speaking to someone and I was like, some people deliberately create a dummy account just to troll fellow celebrities. I mean, that's serious hard work for you to actually be two personalities all in the name of trying to troll someone. You can do it with your personal account, but you can actually create a dummy account.
You don't want people to know you are the person.
I was watching a video of a particular TikToker who said someone, a friend, actually created a dummy account and started trolling. She's been doing that for, I think, about 2 or 3 years. All of a sudden, that person said something that only a close friend would have known. So immediately, that person mentioned that in the comment section. She was like, no one else would have known this except for a friend of mine that we went to school together. And then she called and like, why are you doing this? All of a sudden, she confessed that, yes, it's because this and that. And
I mean, you can't be too smart about that because even in Nigeria currently, there are some bloggers that we don't know who they are. We don't know whether this person is a male or a female. But once in a while, they'll come out with some bangers and then it will trend and stuff like that. And apart from that, talking about, you know, Tosin, I feel like she has a very inspiring story because I saw one of her tweets where she talked about that there was a time she used to sell elk meat in the Oysters while she was in the, you know, university. And then that was how it started for her. She moved to selling, you know, bowls, you know, soup bowls, and then now she's dropping recipe online for people to actually know how to cook, you know, some kind of dishes. So I feel like it's commendable. But just like you said, I mean, she has dropped the pictures already, so we just want to wish her well.
Well, what do we know?
Exactly.
Right, let's take the comment on this one. Let's take comments on congratulations to our very own T-Spice. That's coming from Woolock Surprises on Instagram. That's well, congratulations to you. Yes. And of course, Peace Osadebe says, I'm genuinely happy for her. I too love the woman. Congratulations, Mama. Your home is blessed.
And we agree with that comment, honestly.
Absolutely
your
right.
home is blessed.
That's the kind of comments you would want to see on your post.
Regardless of what anyone is saying concerning your marriage, just keep a positive mind and then do your thing. Just like you said, I mean, there's some things you don't share online. I mean, to avoid unnecessary, you know, issues. Yes.
That takes us to the end of the show this morning. This will be the convenient time to draw the curtains on today's edition of Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Don't forget, today is Monday, and I do say that champions are not those who actually won at the stadium. They are those who actually took their time, took the pain to prepare for that day. You are seeing them on the podium, and of course, you got a medal. Samson Balogun is my name. Until tomorrow, when we shall be meeting on another fresh edition of Daybreak Live. I would say keep being good, keep being safe out there, and of course, today is another day to be a champion you have always craved to be.
All right, thank you so much for being a part of Daybreak Live this morning on Dominion Television. Thank you for watching. And before I leave, in the words of Mahatma Gandhi, he said, certain things destroy our society. Politics without principle, knowledge without character, religion without sacrifice. When we begin to work on these things, I mean, having a better society is inevitable. Thank you for joining once again. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun. Wishing you a great week ahead. Bye for now.